I know that we've all by now seen the post-fight press conference for UFC Baku, where a reporter asked Dana White midway through the post-fight press conference, hey, what's the update on Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall? And he just said, Jon Jones actually called me last night and retired. Just like that, and then kind of moved on to the next question. Extremely like, oh, whatever that was, like just like it didn't even matter, okay? Nonchalant, essentially, right? Then, 20 minutes later, Jon Jones posts this word vomit on Twitter. Nobody's reading that. Nobody's reading that, and I promise you it didn't even mention why you're ducking Tom Aspinall, okay? So I'm not even going to mention that tweet. Nobody read that. I promise you. Probably like 4 people read that. That's a fact. There's been a bunch of shenanigans going on with Jon Jones lately, ducking Tom Aspinall for about 2 years, but recently he was on the Happy Dad podcast, whatever fucking podcast that is, walked off as soon as they asked him if he wanted to fight Tom Aspinall or what's the update with that. All of a sudden, it came out that Jon Jones is now facing new criminal charges. So we're going to read through it today. I have the article up. We're going to read through it together and we're going to break it down. Let's see what the GOAT is up to. Hey, so the criminal complaint stated that an Albuquerque police officer was investigating a traffic crash near San Mateo and Lomas when she came across a woman in the front passenger seat of one of the cars exhibiting signs of significant intoxication and lacking clothing from the waist down. Maybe Jon Jones was trying to check if, hey, is that a girl or not? Maybe my boy was trying to check. The woman repeatedly said that Jones was the driver, but fled the scene on foot. She then called Jones, the complainant said, and a police service aide spoke to the man on the other end of the call, believed to be Jones, and he appeared to be heavily intoxicated and made statements implying his capacity to employ lethal force through third parties to the PSA. So he just essentially said, I'm going to call my hitters. Don't worry about it. I'm going to call my hitters. And by the way, I promise you, this woman who is intoxicated in his car is not his wife. That is not his wife. I promise. I promise. And he's threatening an officer. Okay. The PSA requested backup after what was believed to be a threat when a police officer then talked to Jones and said similar allusions to violence were made. He's just, I'm going to send the hitters. I'm going to send the hitters. Jon Jones is really Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Jon Jones is really Diddy, for real. The man on the phone never answered direct questions about whether he was Jones, the complainant stated. When interviewed in person a few days after the crash, Jones said that the woman found in the car had left his house earlier in the day intoxicated and called him after getting in the crash, at which time Jones said the person she handed the phone to immediately opened the conversation with unprofessional language, which led him to doubt the legitimacy of the individual's claim. So he essentially just manned up and said, yeah, I did tell your officer I'm going to send the hitters, but that hoe was at my crib earlier. I wasn't in the car with that hoe. That hoe was in the car by herself. And she called me for support, and I said, listen, I'm going to send my hitters if you think I was with her. For real. He thought he was getting pressed by his girl for being with a lady boy, probably. You never know. You never know. Let's continue. The woman later told police that she drank alcohol and consumed mushrooms at Jones' house and recalled needing to change her clothes at his house, and her next relocation was being at a scene of a traffic accident. She said the last person she remembered driving her car was Jones. Jon Jones is really Diddy. Jon Jones is Diddy and shit. Allegedly, Jon Jones is Diddy and shit. Police said, John, oh my goodness, my English, my reading, my comprehension skills are just like gone. Police said Jones called the woman's phone 13 times from the time of the crash until 11:34 a.m. the following morning, and the text messages from his phone were included, though could not be captured in call detail records, whatever the fuck that means. The police report indicated the crash happened February 21st, but also in one place stated an officer conducted a follow-up interview on January 24th. It's unclear why the charges against Jones were not filed until months after the incident. There's also no indication that the charges and the decision to retire were connected. Jon Jones called us last night and retired, Dana White said. Saturday during the news conference in Azerbaijan. Jon Jones is officially retired. Blah, 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 blah. Is that it? Okay. And then it's just talking about its other criminal charges, hitting other pregnant ladies and such. So, Jon Jones allegedly has another case. Jon has another case. Jon, what are we doing? What are we doing? Can't have the UFC undisputed heavyweight champion in a second hit and run case with a woman who is not his wife, who doesn't remember why she got in the car. No, doesn't remember how she left your house after consuming drugs with you. A lot of similarities from the Diddy case to this one, if you ask me. There seems to be a coincidence here. Dana White didn't want to elaborate further on why Jon Jones retired, and then an hour right after Jon Jones retired, I see an article from Albuquerque Journal. Shout out to the Albuquerque Journal. We see an article from the Albuquerque Journal stating that Jon Jones has a hit and run charge, criminal charge. I don't know if it's a hit and run charge. Hey, this is all alleged. Not a good look. Not a good look for a dude who's supposedly living his best life. You know, hey, must be a reason why I ran to Thailand, right, boys? Anyways, the Wicked Witch is dead. Tom Aspinall's era is now, and we're up, boys. Bye-bye, Jon Jones. Bye-bye. Your resume is questionable at best. I'm out of here, boys. Alexander Gustafsson beat you, dog. Reyes beat you. Thiago Santos, questionable. Reyes beat you, and Alexander Gustafsson beat you in the first fights. I'm out.